I'm Angie Callahan. Welcome to School Talk Monthly. In this program, you'll hear a conversation we had earlier with Franklin City School Superintendent Michelle Bell. You'll also hear about the live shows coming in March, get details on the 2011 PBS Kids Go Writers Contest, and find out who our Schools of the Month are. On Friday, March 3rd, the Kennedy Center presents 2 live programs. At 11, it's musical theater with Stephen Schwartz. Then at 1, students can explore the arts with Cy Coleman. You can register for the programs by going to kennedy-center.org/education/PWTV. Now let's take a look at the live field trip coming in March from Colonial Williamsburg.
History comes to life with Colonial Williamsburg's electronic field trip series.
This is a letter for General Sumter.
Witness stories of hardship, danger, and sacrifice in Women of the Revolution.
I cannot imagine the circumstance that would cause a young woman to so disguise herself.
Learn about the Emmy Award-winning electronic field trip series. Register your school today.
Women of the Revolution airs live Thursday, March 10th at 10 a.m. and again at 1 p.m. For more information on this live electronic field trip, go to history.org/trips. On March 31st at 1, early elementary students can meet the author of Chicken Butt, Dottie, and Chicken Bedtime is Really Early. Students will find counting and math fun when they add up all the family members in the hilarious book, 93 in My Family. Erica Pearl is the author to meet March 31st at 1 p.m. For classroom materials, go to fcps.edu/Fairfax Network. With me in the studio is Dr. Michelle Bell. She is Superintendent of Franklin City Schools. Dr. Bell, welcome.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the invitation.
Well, we have to sit here and talk for a few minutes about things going on in Franklin. But before we get to that, I want to ask you, how did you get into education as a career?
Well, it's a really interesting story. I was working for Housing Authority in Enrichment, and there was a lady in my church who was a family friend as well, who was stricken with MS, and she was a business teacher, and you know, she knew my history and, you know, where I'd come from and the things I had been through in terms of my educational journey, put it that way. And she said, Michelle, you know, at some point the doctor's going to tell me to go out, and she said, and I know you can do that job. You could be a business teacher. And I was like, Barbara, you're out of your mind. I am not going into the classroom.
Right.
And so she wouldn't stop. And so it came to a point where the doctor said she had to come out. And so they advertised the job, and she kept calling me at church, whatever. She kept bringing it up. So I said, okay, I will apply for the job. So I applied for the job, never heard a word. Because, see, I didn't have any previous educational experience.
Sure,
I just had business experience.
Yeah,
right.
Administration.
And so then the next thing you know, I started getting a little annoyed about it. Cause I'm like, okay, what's the problem? I have a business degree, you know, I have the work experience, you know, what's the problem?
Yeah.
So I called the assistant superintendent, and he said, well, let me find out what's going on. So he called me back. He said, your interview is. And so I got the interview, got the job, and that's where it all began.
Wow, so you came straight from the business world into the classroom,
yeah,
which is a very different path than most educators take.
Exactly.
So how was it right at the beginning, going from having, you know, working in the business world to working with students?
Well, you know, the toughest piece, and I can sympathize with teachers, I shouldn't say sympathize, maybe empathize
there you go.
with teachers now when they, you know, when they start having to write lesson plans, because it is very difficult. Because, you know, in the business world, you just do it. But so you don't, and you don't have to explain to anybody what you have to do. You just do it. You know, so here in education, you have to put down the objective, what you're trying to do, what the outcome is expected to be, and all these different things. And so, you know, that was the toughest part, you know, because I could just do it.
Yeah.
And now I have to write about what I have to do. Now I have to build this whole program for 180 days and have an outcome in the end, you know. And so that was really tough for me. But, you know, it worked out. It's amazing.
Yeah. So you went into the education field as a business teacher.
At the high school level.
Okay. And so how long did you do that before you got into administration? Because clearly you're in administration now.
Right. It really went really quick. I was in the classroom for 3 years. Then I was promoted to the assistant principal in the high school there. And then did that for 3 years. And I got promoted to principal, did that for 4 years. Then I went to central office as a director for 2 years and assistant superintendent for 3 years. And here I am.
And now you're all the way at the top.
Right. It's just been a journey, an amazing journey.
That's excellent. I'd like to know, how did working in the business world help you as you went into education?
Well, I would think that first and foremost, getting to the point. A lot of times people spend a whole lot of time with theory and all these different things. What are you trying to get done? Let's get it done. And that's what it's about in the business world. Get to the point.
So, and it served you well, obviously.
Yeah. And so with my kids, even with their writing, and I know English teachers would probably want to hit me in the head, but you know, because a lot of times they want them to elaborate and all.
Right.
And so I would tell them, condense it. One page, you know, get it down, that kind of thing. And so, you know, that was awesome.
That's great. So did you start in the Richmond area?
I've been in Cumberland, Virginia. Started, like I said, in 1994, and I was there the entire 16 years prior to coming to Franklin.
Oh, okay. So you were in one place and then to Franklin.
Yeah.
With a big new responsibility.
Yes, ma'am.
Superintendent. Well, let's talk a little bit about Franklin.
Okay.
For folks who don't know, tell us a little bit about the demographics, the number of schools you have, that sort of thing.
All right. Well, there's 3 schools in Franklin, naturally, you know, elementary, middle, and high. We have about 1,180 to 90 kids. It fluctuates every day. It seems as though we have about an 80% African American population, 20% white and other, and we're just really small. We have about 220 staff members and a $15 million budget. So that's
Which
who we
is
are.
not a small budget.
No, it's not. It's not.
I think that's an interesting point, that people don't realize just how large school system budgets are, because I would assume in Franklin it's probably maybe the largest employer and the
between us and the Southampton Hospital that's there. We are. The city, you know, is running neck and neck, but not as many.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about some of the successes. How long have you been there?
I came in April of 2009, so it will be, what, 2 years in April.
Yeah.
So this is really my second school year.
Right. So what are some of the successes that you can point to since you've been there?
Well, you know, I think one of the biggest successes that we've experienced is that we've built a family of teamwork. I think prior to my coming, you know, people, they work hard, but now we're working a little bit smarter. You know, we have everybody was on a different island, so now we've kind of come together, and we really focus on being a team, being a family, and you know, and we keep children first in all that we do, and that's one of the biggest things. Another thing that we have done, I think, is that we made some administrative changes. When I came, you know, the board was very concerned about the middle school, and things that were going on at that school. And I think that was one of the biggest achievements, that we turned the discipline around, turned the academics around, turned teacher morale around. And so now that school is on path to really be a, you know, high performing school. And we still have some little bumps to overcome, but it's a much different school than what it was in April 2009.
Well, that's great. And those are some biggies. Discipline.
Yeah.
Discipline. What'd you have to do?
Well, first of all, we put a division-wide code of conduct in place. So we're all going to do it the same way. Now, the high school, you know, it's a little bit differently. The consequences have to be a little different. But, you know, we wanted parents and we wanted students to know that we're going to stick by this. So you know what the expectation is. So when you go to the elementary school, you won't be shocked by what's going on at the middle school or at the high school. It's following you all the way through. And then, you know, holding the administrators accountable for following the policy, being consistent, being just, and being fair. And so, you know, that's the expectation.
And that probably helped to have that this is the code, and everybody's going to follow
Right.
it. So people weren't making decisions on their own.
Right,
This is what it is.
Right,
Yeah.
haphazard stuff, and you know, and I think one of the biggest things that the administrators need to know that they had somebody that's going to back them. You know, that's going to support them. You know, call me if you have an issue. You know, you got a concern, you're just not sure about something. Let's talk about it before you make the final decision or whatever. And you know, I want to support them, and I want them to know that they have support, and I think that makes a big difference in a lot.
Oh, always
Right.
for the person at the top to be supportive of
Oh,
you.
yeah,
So you're
yeah.
not out here on a limb.
Right. No, that's not me.
Yeah, well, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
So teacher morale, what did you do to build up that teacher morale?
You know, I guess really just giving them a voice to some extent. You know, when we do our convocation, and people still talk about our convocations, it's amazing that they're just high-wired. You know, everybody's just pumped up. And so I was telling my board last night that, you know, the community college in the area, they requested, could we be a part of your convocation? Can our staff be invited? And, you know, so we can just come, because I walked by there and it was just so much energy, so much enthusiasm. And I think that you have to start somewhere. And just imagine starting your year on that high. I'm just hoping that high would kind of take you throughout, you know, because you hate to be all humdrum, presentation after presentation, nothing. So we kind of just bring all kinds of things to the platform, and we just go for it. And it's a really fun time.
That's great, and that's how you kick the year off.
That's how we kick it off. And so the first year was good, and the second year was even better.
Oh, that's great.
So,
That's
you know,
great.
and my staff looks forward to just planning it. You know, because I say, hey, I'll dream it, what I'd like to see, and they make it happen.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. And you mentioned earlier the teamwork. You think that being a family and a teamwork has also being a team working for the children has been very beneficial.
Yes, because, you know, some things you do have to dictate. There's no question about that. Some things you just have to come and say, look, this is what we got to do, and that's it. But we do take the time to sit around the table and just kind of hash it out. So you have your principals around the table, and we're talking about it. So I'm not sitting there, you know, not listening or paying attention, or like, I could care less about what you're talking about. No, I truly want their input, and I think that makes a difference for them.
That's great. That's great. So you're there. You're
Yeah,
there.
I'm at all the principals' meetings. Yeah.
Good. And I guess that's one of the benefits of being a small division.
Right. We can do it. And we require assistant principals to be there as well, so the entire administrative team is at the table, because, you know, a lot of things get lost in translation when the principal goes back. You know, you got a lot going on, things going on in the building. So the assistant is there, that's your backup. So we're all at the table together. So
All on the same page.
that's right, and it works out so much better.
That's great. That's great. Well, it sounds like you've instituted some good policies that are starting to make a difference.
Right. You know, it's been, I don't want to say slow, but it's been incremental. But you're starting to see it. You're really starting to see it.
And one thing will build on another.
Exactly.
Sure. Well, now, what about the community there in Franklin? How do they help with the school? You've mentioned family a little bit, but what about the community at large? Do you have any, relationships with any businesses or people that come in and work with the kids in any way?
But one thing that, you know, Franklin, in comparison to where I came from, they have some wonderful stakeholders in place that not only come in and volunteer and do things in the school, they pump money into the school. You know, we had the charities that have brought in Read to Succeed and different programs. We've had, and I don't want to start calling names, but other organizations that, Futures is one that brought in the NDCC/JROTC program. We have the Rotary Club. We work well with the chamber, and you know, so many organizations that you know I'm talking to. Paul D. Camp. It's just, and like, please. I don't know. Maybe we should take that out. I don't know. But anyway, because you know I'm always probably going to leave somebody out. But they really, they really come into the school. They're providing things to the school. They volunteer at the school. You know, it's just so much that goes on, and it's amazing, because we always hear the economy is so bad, and you know, things are just not out there like they used to be. We have the Franklin Education Association that, you know, they bring grants into the school, and so it's just amazing. You have a lot of stakeholders that are really feeding funds and time and money and support into make school.
So you have widespread support, it sounds like.
And so now one of the biggest things that I wanted to make sure Franklin had the opportunity to get was the 21st Century Grant. the 21st Century Community Learning Center grant, I guess that's the better way of putting it. And so I was able to get a grant writer who I had worked with many years ago to come in and write the grant for us. She got the grant, so she got us over $1 million over a 3-year period. And so we really just kicked the grant off. And so we're really excited about that because now we've partnered with Franklin First Baptist Church in Franklin. And so, you know, so it's just different people and from different facets. It's not all just one particular entity. It's just from different, you know, entities, and it's been great.
$1 million grant. That's,
yeah, it's
congratulations.
For 2 schools, yes, for $1 million over 3 years, yeah.
That's great. So what will you do? It's a 21st Century Community Learning Center grant?
Right, and so that's for before, after school, and summer school programs that you can do to just extend the school day, to do things beyond the school day. It's about cultural enrichment, academic remediation, acceleration, as I would call it sometimes too. And you know, we just want to expose kids to a different side of Franklin City. Yeah. You know, because a lot of times they don't get beyond the walls of that city. So this is an opportunity for us to expose them to what's outside that city.
That's excellent. That's excellent. And plus it helps support what you're doing in the classroom. Because
exactly.
Before school, after school, and summer school programs are so important for all children, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
well,
right. So we're excited.
Great.
We're very excited. And, you know, I've told the high school, because at the high school it's a lot harder to keep kids after school. You know, you have so many other things going on with athletics. They're working, just they're social at that time. And so, you know, so I told them it's going to grow slow, but once it starts to take on, it will really build. So just, you know, be patient and we'll get there. But the middle school is flying high already.
Well, that's great. And that was a big need area.
Right, exactly.
Well, that's terrific. That's terrific. What about once the students leave Franklin City? Do you have a lot of kids going on to college or going into vocational schools?
You know, we do. We were very fortunate to have a student that received the Gates Millennium Scholarship last year, and she's now at the University of Richmond. And, you know, we're very excited for her. But, you know, as I see kids, you know, they come back. One thing about them, so we have kids at Virginia State, Chowan, Norfolk State, ODU, you know, so they go a lot of different places. In terms of exact statistics, I don't have, but you know, those are kids that I've talked to since I've been there. They've extended beyond North Carolina State, UNC. You know, they're there.
They're there, and come back to say hello.
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah. That's great. Well, I think we've covered just about all of my questions. Is there anything you'd like to add that we haven't touched on about the school system?
Well, you know, one thing about Franklin, you know, I think it's been known as to be a challenging school division, but we're trying to change that mindset because school is just challenging throughout. You know, so I don't think we're any different than anyone else. I think we have wonderful people in place to just turn it, you know. Our schools are accredited, which they weren't when I came, so they are fully accredited. We missed the mark on AYP, so that's one of the things that we're really going to be, you know, trying to tackle and overcome this year if we can. On-time graduation is another challenge that we have. We've got to get these kids out of school. Once they start, we got to get them out. So those are our big pushes right now. So we're looking forward to the challenge, and we're going to make it happen.
It's great. That's that get to the point. We've got to get them through school and get them to on-time graduation. Yeah. Well, Franklin City is a member of WHRO. You're one of our member-owner school divisions, and I just wonder, from your perspective, how you benefit, how the schools, the students in Franklin City benefit being a member of WHRO?
Well, I will be very honest in saying we need to benefit more. You know, we don't take advantage of all the services that you all are providing to us. One of the biggest things we do is the United Streaming. I know we get into the teachers are using the lesson plans that they can tap into online. You know, and I notice even in the SPM newsletter, they talk about the programming that you all have, just to remind parents that the program is out there. So, you know, I want us to get back into Novanet, because I understand that we did have Novanet at one time, but we really need Novanet at the high school, so I'm going to really push to get those licenses activated again. So then we got the teacher, I think it's called the teacher link or whatever that's called, that, you know, we always put that information out, so if teachers need additional professional development, then that's available to them too. But we need to get into the virtual side of it for our kids too. And I think we're headed that way, because as long as we're going to be cutting budgets, that's going to be the back end to keep our success going the way it's going. So we need to do more.
That's great. Well, and I rest assured that with your tenacity and your business sense, that you will take advantage of all the opportunities coming your way.
Yes, yes, we will.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Bell, for coming by.
Okay, thank you. And I really appreciate the opportunity to be here this morning. Thank you.
It's that time of year again, the 2011 WHRO Young Storytellers Competition, also known as the PBS Kids Go Writers Contest. To spark a little interest, here's our first place, first grade winner, Skylar Bennett, from last year's competition. She's reading her story, Kids Meet an Alien.
Kids Meet an Alien by Skylar Murray Bennett. Once there was an alien who lived on the moon. He was lonely and wanted to go to Earth. So he got into his rocket ship and counted 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. He zoomed through space and landed in a town called Herbert Laws. When he looked around and saw all kinds of kids, he was a little nervous. He tried to talk to some, but they all ran away. They thought he was scary because he looked different. He was green and scaly with long antennas that held his eyes. He also walked funny. The kids' parents told them that when a newcomer comes to town, they should be polite and say hello. So, the children talked to the alien and thought he was nice. They played with him every day. In the spring, they picked flowers. In the summer, they went to the beach. In the fall, they jumped in leaves. And in the winter, they built a snowman. After a year on Earth, the alien had to go back home to the moon. He said goodbye. When he left, the children were sad, but they knew he would come back someday. The end.
You can be in the winner's circle this year. Just write a great story with great illustrations. The competition is open to all students in grades K through 5. Go to whro.org/writerscontest for entry rules and guidelines. And be sure to get your story to WHRO by Friday, March 25th at 5 p.m. Now it's time to recognize our schools of the month. Students at Achilles Elementary School in Gloucester County are now VIPs. Governor Bob McDonnell and the Board of Education recently announced the 2011 Virginia Index of Performance Awards for Advanced Learning and Achievement. And Achilles was one of a select group of elementary schools across the state to receive a Board of Education Excellence Award. This VIP award recognizes schools that have met all state and federal accountability benchmarks for at least 2 consecutive years and have made significant progress toward goals for increased student achievement and expanded educational opportunities set by the board. For setting ambitious goals for raising student achievement, we honor Achilles, our elementary school of the month. The mission of Yorktown Middle School in York County is to provide a school climate in which students develop respect for the rights of others as they gain the skills they need in order to become productive, contributing members of a diverse world. And with students' recent community service efforts, they are accomplishing just that. The Yorktown Middle Builders Club, Classics Club, and SCA organized a Helping Hands food drive where they collected over 1,000 cans of food to benefit the York County Food Closet. Also, 6th grade math students collected and delivered supplies to the Animal Aid Society in Hampton, including blankets, pet toys, and cleaning supplies. For developing generous, contributing members of the community, we congratulate Yorktown, our middle school of the month. The White House recently issued a special invitation for students at Tallwood High School in Virginia Beach. The Global Studies and World Languages Academy at Tallwood was asked to put their talents to work, developing a collection of artwork and accompanying messages for a presentation at Chinese President Hu's state visit, representing the bond between our two countries. The Academy is in an educational partnership with the Hanban Asia Society Network, which offers American students programs that encourage an understanding of Chinese culture, and it links them to partner schools in China. The Academy will be hosting a group of Chinese students when their counterparts come for a visit this month, and then will visit China for themselves later this spring. For embracing the opportunity to participate in international affairs, we salute Tallwood, our high school of the month. St. Patrick Catholic School in Norfolk is now offering much more than a kindergarten through 8th grade education. Evenings at St. Patrick is available to all members of the community as an enjoyable and entertaining way to pass cold winter nights in the company of friends and to explore shared interests. Experts from the community come share their passions by offering mini courses or workshops, and anyone can sign up for the courses that interest them. More than 100 courses are offered over a 7-week period from January through March, with classes ranging from haute cuisine to home and garden to crafts and hobbies to self-help. All of the proceeds of these courses go towards St. Patrick's Financial Aid Fund. For enriching the community while raising scholarship funds, we applaud St. Patrick Catholic School, our independent school of the month. Team Up for Literacy. Join the 5th annual Scrabble for Literacy tournament, February 25th, 2011 at WHRO. Food, fun, prizes, and great competition make this event a perfect break from winter. Hosted by the Literacy Partnership, WHRO, Barnes & Noble, and the Virginian Pilot, the event celebrates literacy and supports programs in Hampton Roads. To register, call 757-644-9177 or go online at literacypartnership.org. This program and all the links we talk about are on our website, schooltalk.org. Well, that's all for now. See you next time on School Talk.